Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from the Daily Signal dated October 6th. It says, how many U.S. Muslims deny Hamas's crimes on October 7th? And there's a real pleasant picture for you. Free Palestine. Yes, from Hamas, as I said a million times. They're the problem there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into see how stupid this is going to be. And I mean, I love how, and I've mentioned this before in other articles about this conflict, that like Hamas recorded themselves doing crimes, like legit war crimes, and with the purpose of broadcasting them to the world to show what they did. And then there's folks out there who are still like, nah, they didn't do it. Nah, no. So let's go ahead and check in on this stupidity. It says first on the Daily Signal, it says 1 year after Hamas terrorists in Gaza invaded Israel, doing this to women, which I can't mention right here on YouTube, and slaughtering more than 1,100 people, including infants, and after video evidence of the slaughter has spread across the world, a shocking percentage of American Muslims deny these facts and harbor disgusting anti-Semitic attitudes, a new poll shows, and I can't say I'm really all that surprised by this. It says, when asked which statement comes closest to your view, more American Muslims selected Hamas did not commit a murder and that word in Israel on October 7th, and Hamas committed murder and that word again in Israel on October 7th. So they just said it did not happen, okay? So even though it was broadcast to the entire world, it says more than a third, or 39%, denied the Hamas murders and, once again, that word, while only 31% admitted them. Another 30% said that they don't know in the poll provided first to the Daily Signal. Scrolling down, it says female Muslims and Muslims of Arab descent proved more likely to say Hamas did not commit murder or that word on October 7th. And there's the chart for it. You can just see right here. It says among the general American public, 64% acknowledged the crimes of Hamas, while only 7% denied them, and another 29% said they did not know. Okay, I can forgive the did not know people among the general American public, but these 7%, you're dumb. You're stupid people. Again, they broadcast this all over the world. So if you're denying that they themselves recorded it, saying it was them doing it, well, you're an idiot. I don't know what else to say about that. Like Forrest Gump is pointing and laughing at your stupidity. It says, when asked why Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, 59% of Muslims selected because Hamas wanted to forward the Palestinian cause, while only 14% explained that the terrorism by saying that Hamas wanted to kill Jews and is set on the destruction of Israel, which is the actual reason that they did it. Says, by contrast, most Americans, that's 51%, explained October 7th by noting that Hamas wanted to kill Jews and destroy Israel, so at least more than half the people they got the answers to were correct, and only 17% said Hamas aimed at forwarding the Palestinian cause, and again, those 17% are morons. There's 2 in 3 college graduate Muslims, or 67%, said Hamas attacked in order for the Palestinian cause because those people have been ideologically captured. It says black Muslims proved the least likely to give that explanation. Well, thank you very much, because you'd be right. Similarly, many American Muslims, at 43%, said Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish homeland, while only 11% of the general public said so. But all your Muslim-controlled countries that have the official religion as Islam have a right to exist. Just the one itsy-bitsy area in the world that's the Jewish homeland doesn't. Okay, well, I guess that makes you anti-Semitic, because that's what that would be. There's 1/3 of American Muslims, or 33%, said Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish homeland. Thank you very much. Compared to 2/3 of overall Americans. Well, thank you to those 2/3 of Americans. There's younger Muslims ages 18 to 29 and Muslims of Arab descent proved more likely to say Israel has no right to exist as a Jewish homeland. And again, stupid people. And here's the chart. Should have just not scrolled right past that, but there you go. And of course, you can see the article linked below. Next section here is entitled Anti-Semitic Beliefs. It says the survey also asked U.S. Muslims whether Jewish people have too much power, too little power, or a normal amount of power in American media and in U.S. federal policy. The majority of Muslims, or 58%, said Jews have too much power over the media, and about the same number, at 57%, said Jews have too much power over federal policy. So we're doing the whole Jews run the world trope, okay? So by contrast, I should say by contrast, I read what was here. I thought I was making a word up for a minute. It says, by contrast, far fewer among the general public say Jews have too much power over the media at 22% and policy at 17%, while more Americans say they have about a normal amount of power over the media at 41% and policy at 45%. And that's actually the correct answer. It says older Muslims, that's 67% of those older than 65, and college graduate Muslims at 64%, proved more likely to say Jews have too much power over the media. Meanwhile, More Americans, at 57%, say anti-Semitism has increased in the wake of October 7th, and say anti-Muslim animus has increased at 44% during the same period. That's like completely true, and I don't think you need to even like really think on that too much, because yes, anti-Semitism has absolutely increased. They keep trying to put it together with Islamophobia, and it's like, where is the Islamophobia? Like, can anyone point me to an instance of something? So let's like not conflate those two things, because they're not the same. There's 1/3 of Americans say anti-Muslim animus has decreased in that time. Only 20% say anti-Semitism has decreased since then. Like, who the hell would say it has decreased? There's a Charlottesville going on every day, practically, on either college campuses or in big cities, and they're saying it's decreased? Like, I have to ask you, are you retarded? And the answer it's a rhetorical question, because the answer is obviously yes. So it says, if attacked by Iran. So the survey conducted in September before Iran sent rockets into Israel on Tuesday asked both Muslims and the broader population what the U.S. should do if Iran were to attack Israel. But a bit more than 1/3 of U.S. Muslims, at 37%, said the U.S. should not support Israel at all, while 1/4, 25%, said the U.S. should support diplomatically only. A smaller group said the U.S. should support Israel with aid and military equipment, but not send troops, at 14%, and only 9% said the U.S. should back Israel with American troops. By contrast, Americans overwhelmingly support Israel, with 17% saying the U.S. should send troops, 35% backing Israel with military equipment and aid short of troops, and 20% saying the U.S. should provide only diplomatic support. There's only 8% said the U.S. should not support Israel at all. And here is the chart of that. And I wish I can get rid of this ad, but let's see if I hit skip ad. It went away. Okay. Wish I could get rid of it, and wish granted. There's the 2024 election, Kamala Harris, Kamala. I like that. U.S. Muslims rank the Israel-Palestine conflict highly when deciding how to vote in the 2024 election. The survey asked, of the following options, what is most important to you in the next election? Among the general public, only 4% selected the Israel-Palestine conflict, which took a backseat to inflation and the economy at 29%, immigration 25%, threats to democracy at 9%, and abortion at 9%. Even climate change ranked higher at 5%. I wonder if I'm going to get a little note on this video now, because I mentioned that phrase right there. So it says, meanwhile, 34% of Muslim respondents selected that the Israel conflict as their top issue, while only 25% chose the economy and 11% selected immigration. Yes, we don't care that we're not making any money and everything is way too expensive, but we hope our side kills the Jews. Yes, it's a great opinion to have. You guys have your heads on straight, that's for sure. So here's the chart about that. This is the survey also probed American Muslims' attitudes towards the Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. Almost half, at 47%, said Harris is too pro-Israel, which she is so not. While 29% said she gets the balance about right, and 7% called her too pro-Palestine. That 7% is actually much closer to being actually correct, but let's keep going. It says college graduate Muslims at 53%, and Muslims of Asian at 62%, and Arab at 66%. Descent proved more likely to call Harris too pro-Israel, while Muslims of other races, black at 37%, white at 41%, Hispanic at 52%, proved more likely to say she gets the issue right. And here is the chart about that. Then we go on to Muslim identity politics. And can these ads just, stop popping up, please? It's just distracting. So this section under Muslim identity politics says the survey asked American Muslims and the general public about various policy positions that would give Islam a favored place in American society and law. On each issue, American Muslims proved more supportive than the American public at large. Muslims proved more likely to support making it illegal to show a picture or cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad, it's basically half, than the general public at 14%. They proved more likely to support the formation of a Muslim political party at 46% than the general public at 9%. They backed the implementation of Sharia law at 39% more than the general public. And who the hell in the general public is asking for that? Who are those 10%? They should be named and shamed. Do you know? It's probably the far left people that don't actually know what it is. Go look it up. And it's basically something that goes against every piece of your value system that you can imagine. If that's who's doing it. I don't actually know that, but it probably is. It says they also supported declaring Islam America's national religion at 33%, more than the general public, 9%. And here is the chart about that. It says many Muslims oppose these policies, at 31% opposing implementing Sharia law and 32% opposed declaring Islam the national religion, but the general public opposed them far more vigorously at 56 and 68% respectively. Sharia merely means law in Arabic, and interpretations of Sharia vary. While radical Islamist groups such as the Taliban interpret Sharia in extremely restrictive ways, American Muslims vary widely. And here is the chart for that section. Go F off, Mr. Ad. It says Muslims oppose attacking Jews on college campuses. Well, that's a good start. It says while American Muslims prove more likely to oppose Israel's right to exist, to deny Hamas committed murder, and that word again, and to ascribe positive motives to October 7th, they did not support campus protesters targeting Jewish students who support Israel. The survey asked which of two statements comes closest to respondents' views. Jewish students on college campuses who openly support Israel are not valid targets of campus protests, or they are valid targets. Nearly half of the Muslims, or at 46%, agreed with nearly half of the general public at 48% that these Jewish students do not represent valid targets. Well, that's good at least. Get some positivity out of here, and I think we're about at the end of the article. Just a couple more sentences. There's only 23% of Muslims and 23% of the general public describe the students as valid targets, while the rest said they do not know. The survey, conducted by JL Partners on behalf of the Heritage Foundation, polled 1,000 Americans online between September 9th and September 13th to determine attitudes among the general public. The study surveyed 500 U.S. Muslims through various methods: landline, cell phones, text messages, and online panel. Analysts weighted the survey to obtain a representative sample, and the margin of error is plus minus 3%. All right, and then this is probably just has all of them together. Kind of what it looks like. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So just some stats on what American Muslims actually think about the whole situation going on and everything. So let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with them, or do you agree with the regular American public? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.